Just as I start filming, the construction noises outside also started, and honestly, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna continue filming. Hopefully you can hear it, and yeah, let's just get started. Today, I want to do the mid-year book freakout tag. I do this tag every year. It's a lot of fun, and it's always nice to kind of see the situation with your reading halfway through the year, and also to look forward to the second half of the year. So yeah, I haven't posted in a long time, but I still wanted to do this tag. And yeah, I guess let's just get into the nitty-gritty about my reading. This year, I haven't been reading a lot. I haven't been doing a lot in terms of like reading and content and all of that. So yeah, the last time I posted a video was maybe like 2 months ago, but let's just not talk about that. Haven't been reading as much as I used to, and so far this year I've read 31 books, which is still a great number, and honestly I don't know how I did it. And my goal for this year was 75 books, but literally like an hour ago I changed it to 60 books because I think it's a little bit more attainable for me. And Goodreads was stressing me out and telling me that I was 7 books behind schedule, and I just can't deal with that right now. So now I'm 1 book ahead of schedule, and hopefully I'll keep it that way. And in terms of like reading quality and how much I've been enjoying the books that I've been reading, honestly, this year has been a year of misses. Maybe that's also one of the reasons why I haven't been reading so much, other than the fact that my life is chaotic at the moment. I just feel like every time I pick up a book, I'm hoping it will be a 5-star, and then it disappoints me. Because also I've been taking a lot more risks with the books that I pick up, and I just feel like my reading taste is really changing, and so it's really hard to find books that I'm gonna enjoy actually, because honestly, just looking at my TBR card, most of the books on there I predict to be 5 stars, and then they end up being like 3 stars. So yeah, I guess that's my situation right now. And I was looking through the books that I've read this year, and I feel like I only gave out like 1 full 5-star. I have like some 4.5s, but only 1 5-star, which is very weird and very sad at the same time, because I want to read books that are gonna be new favorites that I'm gonna love forever, and that hasn't been happening. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into the questions for this tag. The first question in this tag is the best book you've read so far in 2024. And like I was saying before, I've only had 1 5-star, so I guess that's my favorite book of the year so far. And it is Hijab Butch Blues, a memoir by Lamia H. And this book is just chef's kiss. The writing in this is amazing. Just the storytelling that Lamia H is able to construct in this book, and the way that she tells her story of realizing she's queer in a Muslim community, but also intertwines that with real stories from the Quran, and explain in a really simple and easy to understand way. All throughout the book, she combines these 2 things and relates the stories in the Quran to her life, and it's just such a beautiful book and such a beautiful celebration of just like being yourself and finding your own path and your own community. And this is such like a happy book. There are definitely some parts that aren't that happy, but overall the feeling that I got from this book was just like happiness for Lamia, for finding herself, I guess. And yeah, the writing, like I said, it's beautiful, and I love the way that the story is just told. And Lamia was also very brave to put this book out, because she's not out to her family and to her community back home. And I only realized this at the end by reading the book, obviously, and then because her author photo is like this and you can't even see her face. And I think that also adds to the beauty of the book. And yeah, I just adored this book. I recommend it immensely if you're looking for a memoir about the queer Muslim perspective. I've read some, but I think this one was by far the best that I've read. And yeah, super, super highly recommend this book. Now the next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2024, and I just realized that you couldn't see the books behind me, but it's okay. And actually the only sequel that I've read this year so far, and I feel like from what I remember, this was also my answer for last year, because I don't read a lot of series. I'm not into series anymore. I feel like that was big part of my life, but now I really do prefer standalone books. So this is still the only series that I continue to consume, and it is Heartstopper Volume 5, the new Heartstopper book. I feel like if it wasn't last year, it was 2 years ago that I answered also Heartstopper Volume, because yeah, I just don't read a lot of sequels anymore. This is great. I gave this 4 or 4.5 stars, and not sure anymore, but I really loved it. I went into it thinking this was the last volume, and I was really sad about it, but halfway through I just googled it, and apparently there's gonna be volume 6, so I'm really happy about that. I don't want to let the story end. I want volumes forever. Alice Oseman, please continue writing these, because they're just so fluffy and happy, and they're just like a pick-me-up, you know? So yeah, Volume 5 of Heartstopper was the best and only sequel that I've read so far this year. The next question is a new release you haven't read yet but want to, and I was looking at new release lists because I feel like I'm not keeping up with new releases nowadays. And I was looking through a bunch of lists, and there's actually a book that I didn't know that came out this year. I thought it was from last year, but apparently it's from 2024, and I've seen everywhere in bookstores, and I always pick it up and I always read the back, and I'm always like really interested and intrigued by the premise. And it is, wait, I don't know the author. And it is Any Bot by Sierra Greer, and this is a science fiction book, which is not something that I usually pick up, and actually is a genre that I kind of like stay away from, because every time I read a science fiction book I never seem to like it. But this one, I don't know, it just intrigues me, the plot of the book. And I also think it's because this book reminds me a lot of one of my favorite movies, which is Her by Spike Jonze. And yeah, this book is about Annie Bot, who is a robot of a woman and is designed to be the perfect girlfriend to her boyfriend, Doug. And basically it's just about their relationship, I think. So it's about their relationship and how complex it gets once Annie starts becoming more human with artificial intelligence and all of that. And I don't know, I just think it's a fascinating concept, and I'm just interested in seeing how the story progresses from that premise. But yeah, I've seen it everywhere. It's in every bookshop I go to, and I always pick it up, like I said. Also because the cover is really beautiful. I really like the pink. And yeah, I guess that's a release that I'm excited to read. And the next question is the most anticipated release for the second half of 2024. And like I said, I have been looking through lists, preparing for these questions, and I was also looking at lists of books that are going to be released in the second half of the year, and I honestly found nothing that I wanted to read, and it's really disheartening. But maybe I just wasn't looking in the right places, and from the top of my head I couldn't think of anything. So leave down below your suggestions of books that I should check out for the second half of the year that are going to be released, because honestly I'm at a blank right now and I just don't know. I really don't know. So I'm gonna skip this one. The next question is the biggest disappointment of the year, and I actually have 2 books for this answer because I just keep being disappointed this year. There have been multiple 3, 2.5 stars, and these, one is a 3-star and the other one is maybe a 2-star. I don't remember my rating anymore, but I think that's it. So first of all, my 3-star, but it's not a bad rating, but it just disappointed me because I was looking forward to reading this book for so long, and then it just didn't deliver like I was expecting, and it is Let Me Hear a Rhyme by Tiffany D. Jackson. In defense of the book, I also feel like I'm not in the mood for a YA like this anymore. And yeah, it was just an okay book. This was one of the oldest books on my TBR, so I was just like, let me get this over with. I need to get to this book because it's been on my TBR for way too long. So picked it up, and it was just, yeah, it was just okay. And I didn't really empathize with any of the characters, and honestly, I just wasn't invested in the story at all, which sucks because I usually really liked Tiffany D. Jackson books, but I think it's just not my time for YA anymore. Like I was saying at the beginning, I feel like my reading taste is really changing since maybe like last year or 2 years ago. And yeah, I think a few years ago I would have loved this one. Now it's just okay. And the next book that I have here is one that I had heard some mixed things about, but mostly positive things, and that's why it disappointed me. And it is Heaven by Mieko Kawakami. I think I included this in a vlog, right? Did I include this in my last vlog? I think so, but yeah, I was just very sad for the sake of being sad. It honestly told me nothing new and nothing interesting. It was just two kids being bullied, and that's it for 150 pages. So wasn't impressed at all. I don't oh my god, I don't really understand why people like this book so much, but I am intrigued to read more books by this author. I'm actually going to read Breasts and Eggs probably next month, in August. So yeah, excited for that, but this one just wasn't my cup of tea. The next question on the tag is the biggest surprise of the year. In this one, I feel like I also talked about in my last vlog. Did I, or did I make that up? I am not sure, but it is Sent Nudes by Saba Sams, and this is a collection of short stories. And I honestly went into this thinking I was just going to enjoy it a little bit, because the reviews are very mixed and the rating on Goodreads is a 3 something, and I was just like, maybe this is not the best book to pick up. But I ended up really enjoying the short story collection, honestly. I was invested for all of them, and they were really fun. I don't really understand why people give it like 2-3 stars and the rating is so low, because I ended up giving it like a 4.5, I think, or a 4. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. And honestly, I've been really in the mood for short story collections as well, so maybe that also helped. But yeah, I was expecting nothing special, but I ended up really enjoying that book. The next question is new favorite author, debut or new to you? And I basically picked one for both. Not one for both, one for each, sorry. And the first one is the debut author that is one of my favorite authors right now, and Lamia Age gets the cake because her writing is beautiful and this is her first book, and I'm so excited to see what she publishes next, if it's nonfiction, if she goes into the fiction realm. Very excited and intrigued to see what she does next, because hopefully this is not her last book. And yeah, really enjoyed this one, like I said before. And new to me author that is one of my favorite authors, even though this book wasn't the best thing ever, I give it a 4-star. So it wasn't like a new favorite, but I really enjoyed the writing, and so hopefully I will read more books by this author, his other published things, because I think this is his newest novel, and it is Bryan Washington, because I read Family Meal last month, and like I said, the story was good. I really enjoyed the writing, but I feel like it's not gonna stick with me in the long run, but hopefully I can get to his other book, Memorial, and I feel like he has more things, but maybe not. Maybe that's his only other work, but yeah, hopefully I can read Memorial and see if I like that one best than this one. Now the next 2 questions are about characters, and I honestly always try to skip these 2 questions because I don't know, newest fictional crush. Yeah, no thanks. I'm gonna skip them. So the next question is book that made you cry. And honestly, I haven't cried with a single book this year. I've been sad, so I picked a book that made me sad. And it is We Could Have Been Friends, My Father and I, a Palestinian memoir by Raja Shehadeh. And yeah, this book just made me sad. Like, just looking at the title, reading the title, it makes me sad. Because this is obviously a book about Raja talking about his father and all the work that he has done for Palestinian rights and Palestinian freedom. And it was just really beautiful and inspiring. I highlighted a bunch. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, it's really sad because Raja ended up growing up, and after his father passed away, he ended up becoming a lawyer like his father and ended up doing the same type of work. So that's why the title We Could Have Been Friends, My Father and I, because his father was really an inspiration for his work and they were fighting for the same thing. So yeah, really sad book, but also kind of empowering, just seeing all the work that Aziz, which was Raja's father, did throughout his life. And yeah, I highly recommend this book if you haven't picked it up. It's a really short read as well, so yeah, great. And the next question is a book that made you happy, and a lot of books made me happy this year, but the one that actually made me like giggle out loud was one that I read at the beginning of the year, and it is Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between by Lauren Graham. Lauren Graham is a gem and she's so funny, and you can tell in this book, and I feel like a lot of her personality is very embedded in the writing, and you can just like hear her say the things that she's writing about, and I love learning more about her. And like I said, I giggled multiple times reading this one, and it was just a joy to read this. And yeah, I guess that's it. The next question is most beautiful book you've bought this year or received, and I actually went for the received part because I've actually bought some really great looking books this year, but this one I got for my sister on my birthday, and I actually haven't seen a lot of people talk about this, but also at the same time, every time I go in a bookshop, I see this book, and the cover is beautiful. And it is Wandering Souls by Cecile Pin, and yeah, really intrigued about this one. I think it's more of a historical book. I think it's about two siblings that flee from Vietnam during the war, and then they find themselves in Britain, and it's about them just rebuilding their lives in the UK. I think that's basically it, but this cover, gorgeous. I love the covers. I love the covers. Oh my god, I love the colors of this. And it was also longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction for 2023, and yeah, really excited to get to this book eventually. Also, just looking at the blurbs, we have one from R.F. Kuang, Ocean Vuong, and David Nichols. I think it's right up my alley. And finally, the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And I say this every year, but if I could, I would read my whole TBR, because I would like to read that by the end of the year, but I just don't have time. So I decided to pick 5 books that are definitely my priority right now. And looking at this pile, I feel like half of these books I mentioned last year in this tag, in this question. So that is interesting. Hopefully I go back and I don't see these books and I'm completely misremembering, but okay, 5 books. The first one is Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. This was very anticipated for me last year. I didn't get to it, and hopefully this summer, because I don't know, I just think this cover, the vibe screams summer, so hopefully this summer I can get to it. Hopefully maybe this month or next month. So that is the first one. The second one is The Beauty of Your Face by Sahar Mustafa. Had this one for a bit on my TBR, so hopefully I can get to it this year still. Next one is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, a classic. Ooh, it comes with a poster. Why did I only notice this now? Oh my god. Wait, this is so pretty. I I only found this now. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, beautiful. You can tell I haven't looked through this book because I hadn't seen that. But yeah, Wuthering Heights. Hopefully I can get to it this year. I feel like a Bronte is definitely perfect for. Next one, I feel like I definitely mentioned last year, so let's just ignore that. But it is All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. Also, I hope you can't see the dust flying off of these books. Oh my god, I need to clean. But yeah, All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. I've had this one for a little bit on my TBR. So yeah, hopefully I can also get to it this year. And the last one is actually the most recent one on my TBR, well, on this TBR that I just showed you, and also on my TBR in general, because I bought this in New York last year, so in November. It's already been a long time, but I have books that have been multiple years on my TBR, so it's not that bad. But it is My Work by Olga Ravn, and Ravn, is that how you say it? I'm not sure. But I'm just so intrigued about this book. This is a translated fiction, and yeah, it's about motherhood and just like being lost in the world and work and capitalism. And yeah, I just feel like I'm going to love this one, so I definitely want to hopefully get to it this year and prioritize it on my TBR. And I guess that concludes my mid-year book freakout tag. Hopefully I can get to 60 books now that I changed my Goodreads goal. I think I can. I think I can manage that. And yeah, hopefully I can get more 5 stars out of the books that I still read for the second half of the year, because it's looking dire and I don't like it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Bye!